Tomorrow is the moment we've been talking about for the whole week. A major winter storm is going to make its way into the Great Lakes region, leading to possibly some significant travel impacts. And in this video, we're going to discuss in detail the amount of snow and the impacts the storm could have. 7:58 p.m. and it is January 11th. Welcome to another update from Great Lakes Weather. We're going to get right to it because there's a lot of ground to cover with this system. It's a system we've been talking about all week, this low pressure system that is currently going to be deepening across the Midwest and making its way into the Great Lakes region. And it's going to be kind of settling in our area or just to the northeast of our area, bringing us the potential for lake effect snow over several days following it. So this is going to have some long-term impacts for the next several days in this area. So we're going to dive right in to this forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. And again, we'd like to start with this map. This is right from the Weather Prediction Center's website. You can access this for yourself, but you can see this is the probability of snow accumulating greater than 8 inches over the next 48 hours. So this is set for Sunday at 7 a.m. So up until Sunday 7 a.m. this is how much snow we're expecting, greater than or equal to 8 inches of snow. And you can see the chance is greater than 50% pretty much anywhere north of South Bend and along a line extending northeast up towards Jackson, towards Flint. Okay, you can see that that chance of greater than 50% of snow accumulating greater than 8 inches is pretty much widespread across much of southern Michigan, and then definitely a high probability as you head towards the Upper Peninsula and places to the north. And there are some places also in northern Indiana, South Bend, that could be in this threat for heavy snow as well. Some places could see a bit of snowfall, snow accumulations of up to 6 inches, 4 to 8 inches in some spots. I think there's a winter storm warning out for that. If you look at the forecast for greater than 12 inches of snow, it still continues to be high probabilities, particularly in northwest of Kalamazoo and in Grand Rapids westward. Now, there are some places just east of that that are also in a greater than 50% probability. So you can see that, yes, there is going to be a decent amount of snow in the system. We've been talking about it for the whole week, how this could be double-digit snowfall totals, and I think that's going to be the case for much of western Michigan as well as northern Michigan included in that. I really think northern Indiana is not going to reach double digits, but they still will get a decent amount of snowfall. They may reach double digits, especially in the northwestern region as we start seeing the development of that lake effect snowfall, but that's not coming until after the system. I think, in fact, most places in northern Indiana will start off with some heavy snow, but they'll see a little bit more rain than a lot of places in southern Michigan. We're going to look at the models to kind of break down exactly what is going to come into place with that. Here's the hazards list. Okay, you can see this big shade of red here and this shade of red up towards the Apostle Islands region. That is a blizzard warning. Okay, so again, we talked about in our previous video what constitutes a blizzard warning: sustained winds of 35 miles per hour or more for more than 3 hours, and whiteout conditions will lead to that. So blizzard warning remains for much of Iowa. In fact, there's a winter alert for every single place in Iowa at this current moment, as well as every single place in Wisconsin, and almost every single county in Michigan except for the far southeastern portions of Detroit and regions on the eastern side. Why is that place not in a winter weather alert? Well, first of all, you notice there's a winter storm watch for parts of eastern Michigan. I think these areas will probably see a winter weather advisory, and then all of Michigan will also have winter weather alerts, so I will not be surprised to see that. Now, in this area right here where you see southwest lower Michigan, winter storm warning in effect, that place is likely going to see roughly 4 to 8 inches of snow, and then that's not including the lake effect snow that's going to come later. That will have some impacts as well. Places that are in this area for the potential for lake effect snow are expected to see 9 to 14 inches of snow in this region. So again, that's going to be very impactful, and since it's going to fall between now and Saturday, that's going to be a lot of snow, and that's going to cause some major impacts to travel. In addition to the fact that as this system is going through, you're going to have wind gusts of 50 miles per hour. Sustained wind speeds will be at about 20 to 30 miles per hour, which really doesn't constitute blizzard conditions, but if we see those winds increase, there is potential that we could start seeing blizzard conditions, and it's very likely we'll see blizzard conditions in a lot of open areas. So again, I'm going to emphasize this multiple times as we go through this, but it is very unwise to be out on the roads tomorrow and on Saturday as this system moves through. And possibly the impacts might even continue into Sunday, okay? If you are not skilled in winter driving, you definitely need to be very careful going out on these road conditions. It's not going to be a good time to be out on the roads. You can see northern Indiana is under winter weather advisory. That's going to be for the initial snow that you guys see in that region. It is likely that that area is not going to see as much snow, given the fact that the transition to rain is likely, as that low is going to be a little bit farther to the north for you guys than it will be for parts of Michigan. Notice this dark shade of brown that is in central Indiana. That is a high wind watch. Okay, so that again, that is the potential for wind gusts of greater than 55 miles per hour in that region. So high wind watch is in effect. You can see the entire state of Ohio is under those wind alerts, a wind advisory for wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles per hour. That is what that's issued for. You can just see the broad scope of this system. And again, this low pressure system is going to rapidly deepen as it goes through the Midwest. It's going to drop about 20 millibars in some cases, it looks like, according to some of the models. Not every model agrees on that, but that is going to cause a lot of significant wind. And you can see that a lot of the southern United States is under wind alerts because of that. On the northern side, you see those winter alerts. You can even see there's more winter activity as you go out into this region too, the northwestern region. There is a lot of action happening in the atmosphere over the United States as that polar vortex begins to make its way down into the central United States and eastern United States. And we're actually going to see the impacts of that with cooler temperatures as well. All right, we've gotten through all the alerts. Now let's get into some of the other information that you should probably be aware of. Okay, so overall winter storm impacts, again, you can see northern Indiana has a moderate threat, and that's going to be for expect for risky travel and be very cautious as you're out in the roads as well. Those red areas that you see there, that is the potential for major impacts. Okay, so that's going to be widespread closures of things. You definitely want to avoid travel in the red shaded areas. In fact, you gotta just chill at home, stay warm. You know, it's really going to be that wind, those gusty winds will keep the wind chills down as well. So you're definitely going to be careful. I will be out chasing this event, but again, if you are not skilled in winter driving, you definitely should not be driving, and preferably you're putting yourself at risk by doing so, and not to mention other people at risk also. So you definitely just want to keep in mind where you will drive to and what route you will take. I would not recommend taking I-94, okay, for example. That's going to be a very risky area as this winter storm goes through. So keep that in mind. I-94 is notorious for a lot of issues during winter weather events. So just keep that in mind. Now we're going to dive right into the models as we go right into this setup. So it's not again, I will say this is not necessarily a forecast. I'm just showing you the raw model data and what its depiction is of different things. I will give you a forecast for snowfall totals from the National Weather Service. Okay, that's going to show up here in this video in a little bit. So let's start with the GFS. There's 3 different models. I'm going to go more along the lines of the HRRR, but I do want to show you these other ones because they give some interesting perspective on things. There has been a trend in the past couple of models that things are shifting a little bit more eastward. What does that mean? Well, if the low pressure system, which you can see here, is shifting a little bit farther to the east, that's actually going to contribute to likelihood of more snowfall across portions of western Michigan and northern Indiana. Again, that's going to decrease the potential for that rain line to kind of move up into that area. Not to say that there's going to be no rain, because there probably is still going to be a little bit of rain, but the amount of snow is probably there's going to be a bit less chance of rain in this western region. HRRR is going to say there's going to be a little bit of rain, but not too much to be impactful to the snow totals. Now, the thing is, in southeastern Michigan, the places that don't have those winter weather alerts right now, you have that low pressure on the eastern side. You have that rainfall that is possibly going to occur there. That is why, again, the snowfall totals are much reduced in that area. The snowfall totals are going to be much more impactful as you get into western Michigan. You can see these shades of purple. Those are showing snowfall rates greater than an inch per hour, but you can see that the scope of this snowfall is really going to continue to just stick around through the entire day on Friday, starting at about 10 a.m. and then continuing as lake effect snow, as that low kind of sits off to the east as well. You can see that snow just sticks around as those northwestern winds begin, with that polar air making its way. There's going to be a good amount of lift despite the cold temperatures over the lake shore. Not to mention, with the strong winds, will we have 20 to 22 foot waves possibly on the lake shore. But at the same time, there's also that potential that we will see thunder snow with that lift that could exist in the atmosphere. So Saturday afternoon, I'm going to try to attempt to intercept some of that. It's going to be kind of a risky drive, but just going to have to be extra cautious on it. So just be careful if you are going to be out on the roads during this time frame. Let's look at the Euro. Euro kind of showing a similar pattern. Euro is actually rather similar to the GFS at this point. You can see that the snow is really going to stick around western Michigan, and then you have that southeastern spot where the rainfall is going to be falling near Detroit region, and then it really shows that there's not going to be as much snow in the southeastern portion. But it still shows that lake effect snow potential. I think an area of great concern is going to be that lake effect snow, because that lake effect snow is not just going to last into Saturday. It's probably going to last into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday also. If you can look at the models, you can still see that nice hint of blue showing up. It gets weaker and stronger, but again, that northwesterly wind with that polar air that's going to be moving over the lake, that is going to still enable the setup for lake effect snow to exist. So it's an important thing to keep in mind that this will not end at 1 p.m. on Saturday as the winter storm warning does show. Rather, it is probably going to last for some places in Michigan for a little while longer, particularly also the Upper Peninsula. You can see that there's still snow falling there pretty consistently for an extended period of time after that system moves out. So a lot on the table with this event. Now, let's look at the HRRR. HRRR is probably one of the better bets that we have with forecasting this system. So let's take a look at what is projected. So by about 5 a.m., this is 5 a.m., you can see start the first hint of snow entering portions of western Indiana. You can see there's a lot of rain on the southern side. As that moves in, you notice here that it's kind of slowly trucking its way into this area. It may start out as initially a little bit of rain as we get into about 9 a.m., but as we go forward, you can see that there is going to be this surge of nice cool air coming in around it, and it's going to transition some of that rainfall to possible snowfall as we go into Friday afternoon. This is Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. You can see some of that snow is pretty heavy in spots. You get a sounding in the heaviest snow in northwest Ohio. You can see you have a dendritic growth zone of about 3,000 feet, and you can see that those dew points are pretty much matched up. And in this model sounding, it actually shows is even higher, but it's pretty much matched up with the temperature, which means that it's very saturated air, and that saturated air is going to enable a lot of snow to possibly form in this particular system. And as it progresses, you can see that the snow pretty much continues for much of northern Indiana and northwest Ohio, southern Michigan throughout the afternoon, and pretty heavy. There could be a mix of some freezing rain even in there as well, so you got to keep that in mind. There might be a little bit of ice with this as well. But it will continue through about 7 p.m. where we start to see a possible transition to a little bit of rainfall on the southern side in the southern counties. Now, how much will that impact snowfall totals? I don't think it'll have too much of a profound impact on the snowfall totals. It may melt a little bit of snow, but not enough to really melt off a lot of snow. Now, southeastern Michigan, that's a different story because the rain's going to last for you guys there for a little while. And you notice that the HRRR actually puts out a deeper low pressure system than the other models do. So that low pressure system will be deeper, indicating stronger wind potential with this as well, getting down to 968 millibars. That is a deep low. And for perspective, last year's Christmas blizzard was 960 millibars. So it's not as deep of a low, but since there's a lot more precip associated with this in Michigan, that is going to lead to probably more substantial impacts than the blizzard we had last year. So that's just something to keep in mind with this as well. And also, HRRR still shows that lake effect snow making its way through western Michigan. And you can see that the temperatures will be dropping during the day on Saturday. The winds will be quite strong at the surface and just above the surface as well. Dendritic growth zone of 4,000 to 6,000 feet. So that's about 2,000 feet of places where snow crystals could possibly form. So again, and this lake effect snow is likely going to continue for an extended period. It could possibly even occur through much of next week. And we still can't really lay down exactly how much snow we're going to see with that. But keep in mind that this is going to have some long-term effects, this low pressure system and the arrival of this polar air on the backside. Again, we've been talking about the pattern change for a few weeks now, as a matter of fact, and now the time has come where that pattern change is actually taking shape. So, continuing forward, here is what a lot of the models are saying with regards to the snow totals. HRRR is putting out pretty much an overall abundance of 9 to 12 inches across southwest lower Michigan. Now keep in mind, a lot of these places that you see across northern Indiana and southern Michigan, again, some of those places are going to see rain. The places along the Indiana-Michigan border are probably going to see a little bit of rainfall, so that in and of itself will likely bring the snow total down to maybe an inch or two less. But it's still, that's showing the total snowfall of around 9 inches across St. Joe County with this model run. It's just very interesting to kind of notice that. The newest models are coming out. We'll have to take a look at those a little bit later. But you can see widespread snowfall greater than 6 inches across much of Michigan. And these impacts will even reach all the way into Ohio. You look at the Upper Peninsula, it's putting out some pretty significant snowfall totals, especially in those places that could see some additional lake effect with the northeast winds. So there's a lot of impressive numbers you see here. We can have a little bit of confidence also in these numbers because of the close range of this event. Let's compare it to some of the other models though. GFS model, again, putting out similar scenario, putting out still heavy snow in that region in the Upper Peninsula as well. Widespread, greater than 6 inches across Michigan. Euro, not really doing as much, okay? And I think the Euro, when we look at the Euro, it does do the more conservative snow total amounts, and typically it does a pretty good job. So again, you do see the comparison between the HRRR with the widespread snow and the Euro with a little bit less snow on the eastern side. Again, you guys are going to be dealing with that rain in southeastern Michigan a little while longer than places to the west are. So again, less snow totals could occur on the southeastern side because of that. Okay, GDPS model, again, widespread 6 inches showing across much of Michigan, and then it actually extends it a little bit to the south in northern Indiana. The NAM shows a little bit of a high abundance of snow. Okay, it does actually bring out the more liberal amounts of snowfall, which is pretty interesting. Again, NAM 3K still showing that widespread greater than 6 inches of snowfall. So you can see that regardless of what model you look at, you are looking at snow chances greater than 6 inches if you are in many places across Michigan. Hence, kind of the emphasis on the storm, that this storm is going to have impacts to travel. And it's probably advisable that you don't want to travel during this weather event. Here is the official forecast from the National Weather Service as of this current time, ending at 7 p.m. on Saturday. So this only goes until the end of the day on Saturday. But you can see their projection also is that this southeastern portion of Michigan will get less. Again, you guys are likely going to see more rain out there than areas to the west. Now, places that see more snow, again, such as Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Mount Pleasant, especially places in northeastern Michigan such as Alpena and Traverse City, you guys are going to get more snow. Okay, so again, you guys will be on the northwestern side. The brunt of the snow will be focused in this region here. So what is my plan to intercept this event? Well, the likelihood is that I will be intercepting this event at 3 different points this weekend. Friday, I'm going to begin just with the heavy snow that arrives during the afternoon, and then on Saturday, I will likely be more in Battle Creek region, places where we see about 5 or 6 inches of snow, and then I'm going to make that dirty trek all the way to the lakeshore during the lake effect snow event to intercept that thunder snow, and also the potential for that 20 to 22 foot wave action that we will have in the South Haven region. So there's going to be a lot going on there, so you're going to want to subscribe. I'm going to try to be live and continuing to provide updates. I will be chasing with hopefully a couple people come that day. So it's going to be a pretty action-packed weekend of storm chasing. But again, if you are not experienced in driving in these situations, you don't want to be. Okay, and preferably it's just good to stay off the roads. Now, temperatures. I do want to briefly touch on the temperatures in the backside of this. Again, it's polar air. It's going to be bringing much cooler air. Now you can see that the GFS is hinting at temperatures that could reach the sub-zero levels as early as Monday morning. That cold air is going to be wrapping around this trough that's going to be moving through. And as you As you get to that point, you see that there are going to be some places that get some significant cold. Thankfully, we do have the lake shore here. That's the beautiful thing about the Great Lakes, is that the water will keep us a little bit warmer. Okay, temperatures will kind of settle around the teens in a lot of places. Places that are far to the south, such as northern Indiana, Ohio, you will have a better access point to that colder air. So it's going to be likely that you guys see much cooler temperatures. I do want to factor in the wind chills with this. And the question is, when is this going to end? We're probably going to see pretty cold air continue through the end of the week. You can see that some of those wind chills get pretty significantly cold, even close to negative 20s in spots on Friday morning, the 19th, in northern Indiana. So this is going to be, truthfully, this is going to be some of the coldest air we've had in years. And the bigger impact is that it's going to be much longer lasting than the previous amount we had. Because I remember when that cold air came through Ohio back in 2019 and we had negative 35-degree wind chills. This air is similar to that. It's not as cold, but it is much longer lasting. Okay? So again, you're going to want to be careful if you ever are dealing with stuff outside, because frostbite can occur rather quickly. Have hand warmers handy, okay? And just keep in mind that cold air is coming. So very impactful setup coming this weekend, so just be aware of the potential impacts with this. Again, if you get stuck somewhere out on a roadway, definitely have an extra blanket, food, water, something to stay handy, and just have something there for you. But also, you don't want to leave your car on consistently. This is something that a lot of people usually don't remember, is that the car releases carbon monoxide that can easily get into your car, especially if your tailpipe's stuck in some snow. Okay, so make sure to just run your car intermittently, just so that you can have that access to heat, and also just have a blanket with you. Have ways to stay warm until help can come if you get stuck in this situation. Keep in mind that the snow is likely going to last a long time, and it's not really going to melt away. We're not really going to get a break from the winter weather following today. So this is going to be an impactful winter system, and just be ready for the impacts. I'm going to try to keep you guys updated as I can. I'll be live streaming on this channel and on Facebook a lot during this weekend as this first storm welcoming in the harsh Great Lakes winter that we've been talking about for a while. This is going to welcome it in. I will be live streaming it for much of the weekend, so just stay safe out there. I know a lot of schools have already closed, so that's going to be a nice thing for a lot of those students. But again, because there's a snow day doesn't mean it's necessarily safe to go outside. I mean, going outside and playing in the snow, of course, that's a fun thing to do, but being out on the roads is definitely something not advised. So stay safe this weekend, and enjoy the weekend. Stay warm. Drink a cup of hot cocoa. Wrap up in a blanket and chill at home. Thanks for watching. See you all later.